What's up, people? Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we focus on a manager making his return to the Premier League, a return to a club he called home for quite some time. It's a home in a bad way at the moment, but he's been chosen to steady the ship like he's done before. That's right, it's Chris Wilder of Sheffield United in the spotlight of the week. Chris Wilder would break onto the professional scene with an opportunity at Southampton. However, after never proving himself worthy of a spot in the first team, he was dropped by the Saints. August of 1986 would spell the beginning of a relationship that, while off and on, has been renewed once again. Sheffield United would give Wilder his first official start. By the next season, he would be a regular in the first team, but unfortunately, they would be relegated down to the third division at the end of the 87-88 season. The Blades would bounce back immediately, however, finishing second in the division and clinching promotion to go right back up. They would then clinch another promotion the very next season, vaulting into the old first division for the first time in 14 years. While he was a regular that initial campaign back in the first division, the following years his minutes would start to decline, and he never really made a return as an integral member of the squad, going out on loan for several different spells. His time came to an end at Sheffield for the moment at least, and he moved on to Rotherham United in 1992, where he would begin a 4-year stint. This would prove to be his longest-serving campaign at any one club, amassing 132 appearances and netting 11 goals. After a year at Notts County and Bradford City, respectively, Wilder would make his return to Sheffield, only to turn around and go out for 2 more loan spells. He would then make 11 appearances for Brighton in 19 and 99 before moving to Halifax Town that very same year. His time at Halifax would end up being his last as a professional. He would stay there for 2 seasons, racking up 51 appearances and even scoring a goal from his favored right back position, but he would hang up the boots in 2001. Wilder would waste no time at all in transitioning from playing to coaching, and by October of that same year, he would take the helm at Alfreton Town for his first managerial appointment. He would only be given just shy of 7 months at the club, but what a 7 months they were. They would actually win 4 trophies in that short spell, including the Northern Counties East League Premier Division title, the League Cup, the President's Cup, and the Derbyshire Senior Cup. I guess that wasn't enough, or perhaps it was simply a caretaker position from the rip, but in July of 2002, Wilder would move on to more familiar territory and Halifax Town AFC. Their manager of the previous season had suffered appendicitis, and they were forced to put in a caretaker. Rather than go back to the original coach, at the end of the season, they decided to hire Chris Wilder, and he would spend 6 years there, managing over 300 matches before unpaid taxes caught up to the club, and they were put into administration in June of 2008. The club would reorganize and rebrand with the new crest and the new name Halifax Town FC, simply dropping the Athletic from their team name. He would spend less than 6 months at Bury, but would work with one Alan Nill, whom he's called back to Sheffield United this season to take part in the relegation battle. But back to December 21st, 2008, and Oxford United had found their new manager in Wilder, who would lead them to the playoff final, but come up just short in the Conference National League. Halfway through the next campaign, they were top and 5 points clear. But by the end of the season, Stevenage had overtaken them to top spot and automatic qualification. Not to worry, Oxford would defeat Rushden and Diamonds in the semifinal before winning the playoff final against York City 3-1 to gain promotion into the Football League. Oxford's first season back in 4 years would see them achieve mid-table safety as well as their highest finish for 7 years. They would brush the playoff spots during the season, but by the end of the next campaign, they had fallen completely off to mid-table. In their third season back, they would also miss out on promotion, and Wilder was coming under pressure. The powers that be backed him, however, and he signed a one-year extension. Unfortunately, results would not improve, and Wilder would resign in January of 2014. Northampton Town were languishing in the relegation zone of League Two at the time, but it was Chris Wilder to the rescue. First things first, avoid relegation. He would steady the ship, and the safety of mid-table was theirs in the 14-15 campaign. Miraculously, they would go on to win the League Two title the next season, hitting 99 points despite financial trouble causing the entire staff, players included, to not get paid in October and November of 2015. Once again, success pushes Wilder out the door of another club, and he was set to make his return to the club that many of his friends and family still support to this day. The Blades would hire him to begin his first stint as manager. They were in League One at the time, and despite not much financial backing, Wilder would bring in a number of players on free transfers, and he would make hometown hero Billy Sharp the team captain. Despite this, it was an awful start to the campaign, and it looked like storm clouds were brewing on 4 games with just 1 point to show. However, they would make a miraculous turnaround and go on to win the league, breaking records as Centurions. And of course, this went along with promotion to the championship. The championship was nice to Chris Wilder, and it would only take 2 seasons there to gain promotion once again, and this time it was promotion to the Premier League. Leeds would drop points in April 2019, sealing their ascension. This, in turn, of course, would land Chris Wilder a new deal, and it was time for their biggest test yet. I do still remember that first season they were in the league. Bramall Lane was a really tough place to go to, and the Blades would shock the league with a 9th place finish, their best as a club since I was born. However, the pandemic would interrupt their progress the next season and really hit them hard, so that by March of 2021, it was crisis mode, and Wilder left the club by mutual consent after garnering only 14 points from 28 games that campaign. November of 2021 would see Chris Wilder appointed Middlesbrough manager, and it started off with a bang with 4 wins from 5 games. And he would win the championship manager of the month, along with his right back winning the player of the month. These, however, would be the heights of his time at Middlesbrough, and by the beginning of the next season, having won only 2 games in 11, his short time there would come to an end. Early in 2023, Watford, still employing their revolving door of managers technique, made Wilder the caretaker for 3 months and the remainder of their season. I guess it was a short-term contract, or perhaps they were not happy with his results, and he would leave Watford in the summer. Paul Heckingbottom was certainly heralded for bringing Sheffield United back to the Premier League for this season, but they have struggled mightily and thus parted ways with him. Wilder has been given a chance at a glorious return to take the ship's wheel for the Blades, and his first match was against Liverpool. Obviously, I was hoping for a new manager bounce, and although they couldn't give the Gaffer a win on his debut, they would follow it up last time out with a great win against Brentford at home. Noah Mbomo made it tough for the Bees, and they were unable to break down Wilder's side, giving Sheffield their 2nd win of the season. Beloved already by the club, Wilder will have the backing of the fans and the board. Will he be able to improve their form even more and make Bramall Lane a fortress once again? They're certainly going to need to, as they still sit rock bottom, but things are looking up for Sheffield United. Well, that's it for another spotlight of the week here at the Cup Chasers podcast. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. Go ahead and get the likes up on the video. Subscribe if you're new. We're on our way to 200 subscribers. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, and you will see me next time.